Peter, another person who was close to you at this time was a young woman who still resides in Northern Ontario, Paige Wild. You spoke of her fondly as we were putting this evening's program together. You have taught her, you have mentored her, and you have called her a remarkable woman. We got in touch with Paige and she shared with us in a letter what it has meant to her to have you in her life. In her words, "I was a young woman when I met Pete, just breaking into the senior international ranks, the youngest rider on the Canadian equestrian team. Sport was my life. I had no identity outside of it, and I was destined for the 1992 Olympics. It was a foregone conclusion that I would be there, but at the 11th hour, I got a devastating phone call to say that I had missed out. I was shattered. Pete was with me at the time, and somehow, through his words and comfort, I emerged with a whole new perspective on life, over how privileged I was to have this as my biggest problem, how lucky I was to have my youth and my health. The first time that Pete was told to get his affairs in order and say goodbye was in 1996, before the internet era. Living on the other side of the world meant that I learnt he was dying through a letter and a lovely card, thoughtfully written by the man himself. I was devastated. Thankfully, the doctors were wrong and our Pete caught their mistake. Life intervened and our letters became more sporadic. Then, at a time when I most needed him, he emerged alive and whole through the magic of technology. Stress, grief, and anxiety had taken such a toll on me and I was no longer functioning. I didn't recognize myself, but Pete did. He saw through the years of pain, the despondency, the wrinkles, the grey hair, and the tears, and he saw a beautiful, strong, and capable woman. And through his eyes, I had a beautiful, clear picture of myself, which completely altered my own self-perception. Once again, Pete made all the difference. It has been an honour and privilege to call him friend and mentor. He has enriched my life in ways no one else has. I would hate to think where I would be without Pete." Peter, Paige has also put together a video for this evening. I'm not sure if it's a Canadian thing, but she also struggled and ended up filming this piece at 6 a.m, still in her dressing gown. She apologises for the quality, but asks that you hear the sentiment. Please turn your attention to the screen.
It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm at my cottage with my boys, and I haven't slept. And you know what, Pete? This time, I'm not partying. Those were the days. Pete, you've seen me through a lot. You've seen me through 3 major hurdles in my life, and they say third time's the charm, so I think this lesson is going to stick. We are facing many huge challenges in our lives at the moment, but none of them insurmountable. Apparently, anybody who meets us and spends a little time in our reality, which I can promise you isn't anywhere near as placid as it looks at the moment. My 3 boys are sleeping. My 4 boys, really, my husband too. Wonders how we do it. And basically, I think it's because of you that I can. You take fledglings under your wings. 22 years ago, you took this fledgling under your wing. I was 21. I just gave away my age. I can do that. When I was neurotic and self-centered and defined myself by my sport, you were a mentor. You were the best coach. I never listed as coach because you were always there in an unofficial backup role and supporting role, but by God, you were coaching both the equestrian aspect and the psychological aspect of my life. You were there again when I lost my husband and was having my first child. And you were there again recently when I was wearing those cement boots and trudging through the muck of life. And that's when you reminded me that I'm strong and that I can do this. And so it's okay to look really tired. This wasn't the video that I'd hoped to send. Jason, I am so sorry. I can't tell you the curveballs I've been thrown lately. But no matter what curveball, they always pale compared to Pete's. So we have a saying here, instead of, what would Jesus say? And not to say that he's Jesus-like, but what would Peter do? Because Pete, no one as compared to the challenges you've faced and the attitude that you've had. And you've given me so much. I think you have given me the peaceful tranquility of this scene inside of me when my children hurl tantrums at me, when I've not been allowed to sleep the entire night because of my little one-eyed bandit who just had surgery to save his left eye. I'm sure that'll just be one of a string of things that Maxwell gets into. And I can do it because I have had Pete. I've had him in my life so long and so often that I have been lucky to absorb his strength. You've given this to me, Pete. Thank you so much. It's a hell of a view here at the cottage. I hope you'll come and visit me soon, as you are soon to be well again and peaceful and pain-free, and you'll be free to visit me here. I'll be watching for you. I love you, Pete.